Hello, wonderful person. This is Philip, and today I would like to talk about my humble understanding of the four great elements. Now, this is not going to be some big insight that you need to improve your life. Some of the other videos that I have posted are of that nature. This video is just for people who are interested in the four great elements and who might think that maybe there's more to it than just thinking, oh yeah, well, the ancients, they were not as advanced as we are. They didn't have microscopes. They didn't have all the equipment that we have. They didn't have mass spectrometers. So they just didn't know about the 100 some odd chemical elements that we know nowadays. So they just thought there were only four chemical elements: earth, water, fire, and air. So yeah, nowadays we know that that's not the case, and that was just stupid. Well, it's one way of looking at it. Honestly, that is how I looked at it at first. But that's not really what it's about. The word element just has a different meaning in the chemical sense than it does in the ancient physical or metaphysical sense. What the ancients meant, I believe, by the four elements was simply this: physical reality, anything that we can experience with the body, boils down to just four aspects. So maybe you want to call them the four great aspects, not necessarily the four great elements. Anything we experience is either solid, hard, or not solid, soft. And of course, anything in between. There are various degrees of hardness, of solidity, of softness. And that dimension of it all, that aspect of reality, is what I believe the ancients called the earth element. So you might call it solidity or even hardness. That's what the earth element is. The harder something is, the more of the earth element it contains. Well, now, the water element is fluidity, liquidity, also cohesion. So the more liquid-like, the more water-like something is, the more of the water element it contains. An easy and obvious one is the fire element, or the heat element. This is probably the easiest to translate into modern-day physics. It's basically temperature. The hotter something is, the more of the fire element it contains. Now, we know nowadays that heat is not a chemical substance. Heat is really just how we perceive or how we experience a statistical phenomenon. How much momentum the particles have that make up the object. But when you bring it down to direct experience, what does your body experience? It doesn't experience velocities or momentum or anything like that directly. What it experiences in the case of heat is simply a sensation of heat, or an absence of heat, which is sensed as cold. That is what the heat element is. And it's called an element because that is our direct experience. We don't need a microscope or a telescope or a spectrometer or anything like that to notice the difference between hot and cold. That's why it's one of the elements. And finally, the air element, or wind element, it's simply motion or vibration. And again, vibration, sound waves, they really boil down to motion of particles, but our ear does not perceive particles and their motion. What it perceives is frequencies of vibration. So all I really want to say with this video is, don't dismiss ancient physics, metaphysics, and wisdom just because you might misunderstand a word. The four great elements are the four great elements because that is what we can experience with our body in this physical reality. I cannot experience nitrogen or carbon or oxygen. I can experience hard or soft, liquid, cohesive, hot and cold, and motion or vibration. That is what I can experience physically. And that is what I believe is meant by the four great elements. And in that sense, it's not hard to see that they have their validity. It's not stupid to talk of the four great elements in this day and age when we have 100 chemical elements. They are just different. They're chemical elements. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon in a future video. Be happy and be well.